January 2008. It's a brand new year. I'm still working at Norlake Manufacturing, building transformers. I believe I'm still living in North Ridgeville at this point in time, but I don't remember much else going on. But I did read a few books. Only 4. But they're all leisure books. So let's get started with the first book that I read in January of 2008, which was The Nature of Balance by Tim Levin. This is environmental horror. I'm a big fan of that sort of thing. But it starts with millions and millions of people dying in their sleep, dying violently in their sleep. The survivors, basically anybody who wasn't asleep, maybe a few who were but woke up before they could die, trying to figure out what's going on, trying to find a way to survive in this world where so many people have died. And they meet a guy named Blaine, I believe it is, who has amnesia. He's got a secret past. But while all this is going on, nature is basically taking its revenge against people. Animals going kamikaze, all sorts of crazy stuff going on. My kind of book, as I said. I love a good nature run amok kind of story. The Nature of Balance by Tim Levin. Next up, we have Triage by Jack Ketchum, Richard Lehman, and Edward Lee. What we have here is 3 novellas. Back cover copy. Here we go. The usual. A stranger walks into a place of business and starts shooting. 3 of horror's most terrifying authors challenged each other to write a novella beginning with that simple idea. But where they each went from there would be limited only by their own powerful imaginations. The results are incredibly varied, totally individual, and relentlessly horrifying. Prepare yourself for 3 very different visions of fear, each written specifically for this anthology and available nowhere else. Now, I don't know if that's still true. I don't know if they've been reprinted anywhere. But, yeah, you've got 3 very different ideas coming from the same premise. And, 3 very different writers. Jack Ketchum, at least as far as his novels go, only ever, I believe, wrote one with supernatural elements to it, and everything else was very grounded and real. Richard Lehman, all over the place with his stuff, not in a bad way, but plenty of stuff with supernatural elements, plenty of stuff with just human monsters, and then Edward Lee, again, probably not as varied necessarily as Richard Lehman. Lots of supernatural or science fiction elements in his stories. He does have plenty of human monsters as well. They're usually backwoods folks, but 3 very different, very entertaining stories. Triage by Jack Ketchum, Richard Lehman, and Edward Lee. Where am I going to put this? After that, we had the penultimate book for January of 2008, Shapeshifter by J.F. Gonzalez. I don't think I have a copy of this. I should have actually checked the other room. I'm pretty sure I no longer have a copy of this. But there is a new edition available from Brian Keene's press, On Mars Press, whatever it's called. They're reprinting all of those old J.F. Gonzalez books. But anyway, Shapeshifter, J.F. Gonzalez. Mark Wiseman is a werewolf. Bernard Roberts is a rich, powerful, evil man who knows Mark Wiseman's secret and basically is blackmailing him. He'll reveal Wiseman's secret unless Wiseman does what's his name? Roberts wants, which is to kill people. Will Wiseman do it? Will he maintain control of his wolf self? What's going to happen? Well, you should read it. It's a good book. I'm a big fan of werewolf stories. I don't think there are enough werewolf stories out there. This is a good one. Shapeshifter by J.F. Gonzalez. And the last book that I read in January of 2008 is Offspring by Jack Ketchum, the follow-up to Off Season. Back cover copy says, the local sheriff of Dead River, Maine thought he had killed them off 10 years ago, a primitive, cave-dwelling tribe of cannibalistic savages. But somehow the clan survived, to breed, to hunt, to kill and eat. And now the peaceful residents of this isolated town are fighting for their lives. Just another fantastic Jack Ketchum horror story about a cannibal clan. And I believe he's expanded the story a bit. It's been a while since I've read Off Season or Offspring. I believe Off Season is a little more isolated. We're focused on people staying in a cabin during the off season. And now I believe the cannibals have spread into the town, as it sort of implies on the back cover copy. So now instead of just focusing on this group in the cabin and their fight, and it's not, the whole thing doesn't just take place in the cabin, but it's still kind of focused on that. And I believe on the cave where the cannibals are. But I don't think there's a lot going on in the town. And I think, as I said, the cannibals sort of spread into the town, open it up a little bit. But still great stuff. Jack Ketchum, Offspring. And another leisure book. As I said, all 4 of these were leisure books. And that's everything I read in January of 2008. Another short month. I got a few more short ones coming up before I start, holy moly, reading a little bit more. I just glanced over here. August has 15 books I read in August. I'm not looking at what they are. So I'll be as surprised as you are when we get there. Didn't think of a question ahead of time. How do you like the idea of different authors taking the same idea and writing their own version of it? It is something that I quite like. I was going to say it's the other side of the coin of writing the same story from different characters' perspectives. I'm not sure that's entirely accurate, because when you have different authors writing different things based on the same premise, you're going to end up with, generally speaking, completely different stories, as opposed to the Rashomon idea of the same story from different perspectives. And I'm not talking about that in a Rashomon sort of way, where you're reading one story or book and just getting different perspectives. I'm talking about literally, you read a novel with character X as the point of view character, and then that author writes the same story but with character Y as the POV character. And so we're actually seeing things, interpreting scenes, interactions, everything in a completely different way. Again, not quite the way I think not J.K. Rowling, cursed name, Stephanie Meyers did with the Twilight books. She wrote the one, I can never remember the title, that's Twilight, but completely from Edward's perspective. But anyway, again, the idea of, here's the premise, take it and run with it, different authors. I like that idea. It's sort of the multiverse kind of thing that I like, alternate takes on characters and things. It's something I thought would be interesting if you gave 3 very distinct and different directors the same screenplay, and see what they actually did with it. And again, that's a little more, here's the actual whole story as opposed to just a premise. It's a weird question. I'm rambling, but I did not think of anything better. What do you think of this idea? Let me know in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe, all the usual YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, I'll have links for my Instagram and Blue Sky in the description below. That's all I have for you this week. So until next week, read more books.